Hi, I'm Chief Meteorologist Tony Petrarca in the Pinpoint 12 Forecast Center. You've clicked on the Weather Now link, of course, giving you a quick update on Hurricane Dorian. Pretty impressive in that the eye of the storm has been able to maintain itself for such a long time. We're seeing it now spinning right along the South and North Carolina coastline. Winds are at 110 miles per hour, moving north and northeast. Once again, we are not expecting a direct landfall or a direct impact from the storm, but we will see some fringe effects in the late Friday night, early Saturday morning time frame, with perhaps the conditions being a little heavier, worse out towards the outer Cape and islands, especially Nantucket, where there's actually a tropical storm watch. So here's the latest from the Hurricane Center, and you can see that winds at 110 moving north-northeast now at 8 miles per hour, and again off the Carolina coastline. That'll continue to track along the Carolinas tonight and then edge offshore away from Cape Hatteras by early tomorrow morning. All right, we'll get back to Dorian in just a second. We'll talk about local impacts. In the meantime, a look back at today, which certainly felt like autumn. Not nearly as humid or as warm as yesterday. The high temps, as expected, reaching the lower 70s. Nothing on Doppler radar. You're heading out this evening. Weather looks fine. Looking at dry and cool conditions. Now, the cloud cover that we have overhead, they're high, thin clouds, what we call cirrus clouds. And this is actually the what we call the outflow, the very top of Dorian. Some of these high clouds tend to spill out well in advance of the storm. These are way up because the sunshine to be a little milky and hazy, and that's all that is. This is not precipitation. And you can see Dorian there along the North and South Carolina border near Charleston. Still packing winds over 100 miles per hour. Here's a close-up look at the eye. 40 nautical miles in diameter. Now, we get even a better look at these storms when they come close to the continental U.S. They get within Doppler radar range. So when we turn on the Doppler radar, both in Charlestown and in North Carolina, and you can see that spin of very heavy rain. These narrow yellow lines, they're called feeder bands. So here's one right in here. As they spin towards the coastline, they dump lots of rain. They can sometimes spin up tornadoes. So there's been reports of tornadoes within these feeder bands. Here's Cape Hatteras, North Carolina, right in here. And that storm continues to track north and east. These are some of the wind speeds. Now, we're taping this as of 4 o'clock in the afternoon. And of course, these numbers have been going up. You got to be right near the outer wall of the eye to get the hurricane force winds. In fact, when we take a look at the wind field, the hurricane's not a point. It's not just that. It's not just the eye or the center. The width extends many miles from the center of the storm. So the yellow are the tropical storm force winds, and the red representing the hurricane force winds, which are right along the North and South Carolina coastline. Here are your hurricane warnings from Charlestown and South Carolina all the way up to the Virginia border. When we take a look at the forecast track, and we're going to overlay the wind field as well. So let's take you through the next couple of days through Saturday. Now, here it is off Cape Hatteras, North Carolina, early Friday morning, and then by Friday evening, it's off the Mid-Atlantic coastline, well south of New England. This is Friday night at 8 o'clock, winds of 90 miles per hour. That's all offshore. Now, notice that the center of the storm passes well south and east of New England, but it does make its closest pass late Friday night, early Saturday morning. And take note, I'm going to put my glasses on here so I can see a little better. My new glasses. I don't know if I like them. Right here. So you see this yellow area clipping the outer Cape, Nantucket, maybe even a little bit of Martha's Vineyard. So, excuse me, tropical storm force winds. I still think out towards Block Island, coastal Rhode Island, Newport, New Bedford, you'll still get gusty wind and some rain. But the stronger winds would be the outer Cape and islands, and that's where there's actually a tropical storm watch for Cape Cod, Martha's Vineyard, and Nantucket. Now, this is Saturday, 8 a.m. Then watch how rapidly it pulls away Saturday afternoon and Saturday evening. In fact, I do expect some sunshine to develop the second half of Saturday. Here's one of our forecast models, and it shows some of the rain pinwheeling into our area late Friday night, early Saturday morning, especially out towards Cape Cod and the islands. as far as the probability of tropical storm force winds, meaning 40 miles per hour or higher, and I mean, no surprise, you get out towards, of course, the chances are much higher, obviously, along the track of the storm. Get out towards Nantucket, and the chances up to 42%. But in Providence, it's like a 10% chance of getting winds of that magnitude, whereas you get towards New Bedford, Newport, Block Island, chances are more like 1 in 3, so a 30% chance of at least winds of 40. So we're thinking the Rhode Island coastline, probably 40, 45, Block Island, gusts to 50. You get out towards Chatham, the Outer Cape, especially Nantucket, excuse me, and we're talking winds of 55 to 60 miles per hour. Obviously, with these storms come waves. The area in orange represents where the large waves are, near the center of the storm. But that wave energy, even though the storm is far at sea, that wave energy does propagate towards the coastline. So the risk of heavy surf, rip currents, and the big swells increasing over the next couple of days, even come Saturday afternoon and Sunday when the storm is long gone. These waves at area beaches will be still agitated, so I do expect the surf and the rips to be on the increase. All right, let's take a look at the forecast. Starting off this evening and overnight, partly to mostly cloudy, just these thin clouds streaming overhead. We are dry. Your Friday morning is dry, cool. Starting off, I wish the allergy season would end. Excuse me, 50s, mid-50s, 7 a.m., and then we head into the early afternoon under mostly cloudy, cool, breezy conditions. No rain, no wind. Now, maybe late afternoon, a few isolated showers near the coastline. The shower chances start to increase later Friday night. This is 11 o'clock. And take note where some of the heavier rain and wind is starting to pick up right out here, out towards Nantucket. So I do expect late Friday night for some of the rain to be filling in these areas along the coastline. The wind will start to pick up down here. So it's one of those deals where the further north you go, the wind's not too gusty, but the further south, Newport, Westerly, Block Island, New Bedford, Little Compton, the wind's picking up, and then much higher wind gusts out towards the Outer Cape and Islands. So it's not a direct hit. We're not getting a hurricane. It passes well out to sea, but we do get some fringe effects. More so for the Outer Cape and Nantucket. Again, the timing is late Friday night or early on Saturday morning. In the meantime, the weather's quiet for tonight if you're heading out. That's your latest Weather Now update. Check back with me tonight in Eyewitness News. It only starts in, about 45 minutes, starting at 5 o'clock, our newscast. And check with us throughout the evening and overnight on our webpage, WPRI.com, social media, our newscast again tonight at 10 and 11. I'm not anticipating really any significant changes to the thinking that we've had now the last couple of days. The storm stays well offshore, but just kind of a glancing blow for the south shore. Not hurricane force winds, but some gusty rain and wind. A little more dicey, though, I would say, for Nantucket, where the winds there may actually gust up to 60 miles per hour. So that's the latest. Thanks for logging in. We'll talk to you soon.